Yes, Bhavika ma'am, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Good evening, dear teachers, administrators, parents, professionals, and students joining us across the nation and pan UAE as well. Welcome to CBSC Bharat Sahodaya web series number 78. And the topic of the series today is how to prepare MCQs, an extremely relevant topic in the times of virtual teaching and learning. We at Bharat CBSE Sahodaya aim to create awareness and support educators in their journey of professional upgradation. I am Bhavika Gidwani. I'm a mental health professional, counseling psychologist, and a special educator working with the Department of Mental Health and Behavioral Sciences, Fortis Healthcare, New Delhi. I shall be moderating this session. I welcome you all on behalf of CBSC Bharat Sahodaya. May I now introduce Dr. Abdul Salam, the Program Director, Honorable General Secretary, CBSE Bharat Sahodaya, and the Principal of the Oxford School, Trivandrum. Sir does not need an introduction. He is definitely the heart and soul of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya complex. It's true that Dr. Salam, sir, is the educational iconic leader and the recipient of many iconic awards by different organizations. His mission is to educate the educators, and definitely he's an inspiration for many of us. His sincere efforts are truly going to make a difference in our education transformation. Dr. Salam is a true visionary and a great leader. I extend a warm welcome to you, sir, and request you to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Bhavika. Sorry. Good evening and healthy evening to all the educators who have joined Bharat Sahodaya's 68th web series session. And this is particularly everybody was looking forward to in relation to the relevance of the topic, and everybody is looking at MCQs and is collecting as many MCQs as possible so that they can be transferred to children for practice. But CBSE has a different, vision in mind. By introducing MCQ, CBSE aims at enhancing the competency of children, not just through MCQs for options or 5 options or 3 options, giving and checking the knowledge level of students. So it is high time that we have practiced this in the lower grades as well, so that they will be adopting, they will be habituated to a sort of thinking. These MCQs should enable the the candidates to think and answer, for which the students have to master the concept, not just for the sake of attending the examination. So we are looking forward to how we can make very meticulous MCQs. There are ways and means, and we have Dr. Shilpa Endoria, who has joined hands with Bharat Sahodaya. When we requested, she was very much eager and enthusiastic to join and share the knowledge she has on this particular topic. And I'm pretty sure we will be getting a lot of takeaways, and we'll be getting a full knowledge about how we can frame MCQs in the way CBSE has envisaged. And remember, whatever questions and samples we pose here are just, just some guesswork, and unless and until CBSE releases sample papers, we are not sure what sort of areas and questions are going to be covered. So thank you so much, Shilpa ma'am, Dr. Shilpa. Thank you so much for your service and your dedication and passion to share the knowledge and we are very sure that you have prepared a lot, and everybody is looking forward to. So, wish you all the best, ma'am. Thank you so much, all participants, for joining. Over to Bhavika. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salam, for the wonderful introduction to Dr. Shilpa and to the entire program. May I now request Mr. Shibu to felicitate the occasion. Mr. Shibu is the president of Bharat Sahodaya. He has served the education industry as principal and owner of a CBSE school. Over to you, sir.
Bhavika, ma'am, you can go ahead as he has joined.
Sir hasn't joined. No problem, sir. We'll move ahead and we'll definitely look forward to Sir joining the seminar with us today. May I now invite and welcome Dr. Shilpa Indoria. With an impeccable service record spanning 21 years, Dr. Shilpa Indoria has now forayed into teacher training with a firm belief that empowering one teacher would actually empower at least 100 students. With a doctorate in social science and educational administration from Symbiosis, Dr. Shilpa Indoria trails a blaze of achievements. She holds a key position in the academic community and has been a center coordinator and observer for CBSE directed examinations.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bhavika. Thanks a lot for that lovely introduction over here. And yeah, thanks a lot. I'm really thankful to Dr. Abdul Salam over here, the principal of the Oxford School. The topic that is given me is very, very close to my heart. And I just hope that I do justice with all of you. And I'll try my level best in the next 1 hour. In the next am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Am I audible? All right. The next one that we have, we will look into MCQs. We will look into what CBSE is trying to tell us, what kind of competencies are we going to take from the books, as well as what the CBSE is trying to tell us, along with a combination of an NEP 2020, which it has already imbibed in the CBSE curriculum. So let's go ahead. I will share my screen over here. All right. Okay, so we are going to decode the new CBSE exam pattern, and I'm sure, pretty sure that all of you are apprehensive about what kind of papers CBSE is going to give, because they've already informed that in the month of November, they will be holding the board exams, and that would be only in the form of MCQs and OMR sheets. So let's go ahead and explore that. From where do we start? So we have to start from circular number 51, which was released on 5th of July, wherein CBSE actually gave a special scheme of assessment that the syllabus will be rationalized for 21-22 year. And the internal assessment, practical and project work that we all are doing in our schools is actually very, very important. And it takes more significance than the MCQ exam that the child might appear from his home. So the academic session is divided into 2 terms now, with approximately 50% syllabus for each term. So this is a scheme of examination that we've already gone through. All of you must have gone through it. We have 50 marks for term 1 and 50 marks for term 2. In term 1, now there's a clear instruction in the circular 51 that the MCQ exam will be of a duration of 90 minutes. So if you think about it, 90 minutes means 1.5 hours. So if an 80-mark question paper, we are giving 3 hours. We will be allocating 40 marks of MCQs. In the internal assessment, if you ask me, it is of 10 marks, which will include periodic assessments, which will include multiple assessments, activity portfolio. And all these marks that you're seeing over here, they've already been allocated, and it is available on the CBSE academic website. You just have to go through the curriculum document. Now let's talk about periodic assessments. What is the purpose? What are we actually doing it? Periodic assessments in very simple term means pen and paper tests, which you are going to organize either through your Google Forms, or if the students are coming to the school as they are coming now, and most of the schools are open now for grade 9 to 12. So you can take 3 pen paper tests, which are called as periodic assessments at regular intervals. And obviously the average test should be taken for the final submission. Now, how the final submission and what kind of weightage will be given to each term or each assessment, that yet not disclosed by CBSE, which they say will come only in the month of February or March. So we have to wait till then. Let's come to multiple assessments. Now, multiple assessment strategies will vary. So you can see, you can use multiple techniques. For example, observations. When I say observations, if you remember when we were doing CCE over there, we used to have those anecdotal observations. So you can actually use those anecdotal observations, especially, when you are having an online session or a virtual session with children, and how are they enacting over there? How are they interacting with you? If you're asking a question in the session, how many children are participating over there? So that is also observation. You can have your oral test, you can have individual or group work, your class discussions, debates. You can give them field work, create concept maps. You can give them incomplete graphic organizers which they can complete, or you can ask them to make a graphic organizer as well. And they can also present their PowerPoint presentations as an input. You can conduct quizzes, you can conduct project work. Self and peer assessment is very, very effective over here in multiple assessments. You can actually ask one child, what is his opinion about what kind of answer the child B has given. Collaborative projects, they're already doing. You all have been doing all these things over the years now. Experiments, the classroom demonstrations, and so on. Now let's come to portfolio. While I was going through all the questions that all your participants have asked in the registration form for this workshop, there was a question, please describe portfolio. So I'll just tell you, a portfolio is a collection of chosen work. When I say chosen work, it can be a product as well as it can be a process. So when I say a product, it means it is a record of all the performances of the students. So when the student performs in a class test, when he performs in periodic tests, when he performs in your term 1 exams, when he performs in term 2, all those answer sheets, the pre-board answer sheets, all these records, this is a performance profile of the student. Now, in addition to that, whatever activities you are doing, for example, the English teacher might tell the children to write some poetry on maybe nature or rainfall, and whatever the child produces over there, that will be included in the portfolio. That too will be included. Now I will give you an example of two students. There is student A and there is a student B. Now A is very good in academics, scores 90% over there, so his mark sheets are present in the portfolio. But student A does not participate in any post-scholastic skills, and he does not write. There is no creativity. He does not produce anything. He doesn't enter into any story writing or poetries, or even drawing a poster or making graphic organizers on his own, or creating his own, let's say, a podcast. He doesn't do anything. He just focuses on his academic part, and he scores 90% in all his tests. There is a student B also, which scores around 70%, an average student, but he has written beautiful poetries which are included in his work. He has done this. He has also created certain comic characters. He has gone, a way ahead and done some digital course also, which the certificate is put in his portfolio. What is your opinion? What kind of marks will you give to student A and student B? You can write in the chat box. Student A, out of 2 marks, what will you give to student A and student B? Analyze yourself. Okay. I don't know, Bhavika. I think you should be, you're a better judge. If you have any answers, you can give me. So I think you will agree if I say student B will get 2 marks and student A will get 1 mark, because the portfolio has less personality of student A and more personality of student B over here. Let's go to subject enrichment activities. Now, what are they? In very simple term, a subject enrichment activity implies that you have doing in the class to the real life. So when it actually means skill development. So you have to challenge students and permit them to apply their knowledge to the next level. For languages, there are many suggestions for subject-specific activities also. When I talk about languages, you can take critical book reviews from these students. And please mind it, the book review should not be their NCERT textbook review. You can ask them to read an extra storybook or a novel or maybe a historical book, and then give a critical review on the author, on the way of writing that has been done in the textbook, on the novel. They can also see a movie. You can make the entire class watch a movie, then take a critical review from the class. You can do some research paper writing, which is very, very beneficial, not only for languages, but also for mathematics and science. Short research subjects, and you can, for example, if I am teaching English, probably I might say, okay, Shakespeare was a great writer. You have to do a research work on Shakespeare. So they will be doing it. Or if I can even ask them, okay, go and write a research paper on Hogwarts, which is present in Harry Potter. They might go through, they might research certain things, they have to read certain books, they have to give credit or reference to all the people who have contributed, and they create a research paper and present it. They can also create digital content. In today's scenario, where in almost all the students are very, very active, they're proactive on digital media. You can ask them to create comic strips. You can ask them to create blogs over there, their own blogs, their own podcasts, or even act as RJ, and then have a radio show for themselves. All these things will actually add to subject enrichment activity. On the website of CBSE, I'll just click over here and I will show you this. There is a reading literacy handbook also given over there. So you can actually go through that. And it is on the CBSE website only. So please, you can go over there. I'll Here is the presentation.
Ma'am, I think you have connectivity issues. Yeah, it's taking a while. Yeah.
Ma'am, am I there now?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
it's visible? Okay.
Absolutely.
So we were talking about this manual of reading literacy, which is already present in the academic CBSE academic website, and it is there in the handbooks. So you can go over there and actually so go to the next part for science and mathematics. Let's talk about science and mathematics. What can we do? Again, science and mathematics, whatever concepts that you study, them in labs, in mathematics labs, already do. And again, they have to raise questions, they have to generate hypotheses and experiment and find solutions to questions or problems which are encountered. Again, as I shared with you earlier, writing of research papers, presenting in seminars in your school or in a class seminar, or the subject teacher can actually create a symposium of an inter-school or maybe inter-class symposium and let the children present their papers over there. This will give them more confidence and will prepare them for whatever is going to come in their college life as well. And the process of researching will help them in design thinking, in AI. That is what we are talking about. That is what CBSE is now talking about, because now we are creating these design thinking innovators in schools. So this is going to add to that skill. For social science, already art integration is actually mandatory by CBSE even today. So we have to start thinking about
I believe ma'am has poor network. I have already informed her. So if you could just give us a moment and bear with us.
integration we need to do.
I think ma'am is trying to renew her network. She's trying to refresh her network. Yes. If you could just bear with us for a moment. We are trying to reconnect with her. Thank you.
Has she gone, ma'am?
Yeah. Shall I go on? Okay.
Are you
Ma'am,
there, ma'am?
the previous part that you were trying to talk about was missed by a lot of people because apparently you have issues, ma'am. So I request you to kindly repeat the last bit that you were talking about.
We are talking about the subject enrichment activities, Bhavika.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right. So subject enrichment, I think it was clear. We were clear about languages. We were clear about mathematics, science, and we were doing social science over there.
Right, ma'am.
So social science can be integrated with art beautifully because we can explore the artwork, the artists, experts, writers, poets. The students can again, critically analyze what is their contribution in the history of India, and even the kind of geography that we have. They can do, as teachers, you can actually ask children to read some historical book or maybe a book on Earth and then analyze it. They can even draw over there, and this would be an integration project with social science. So not just like we used to do, simple, if you remember over the years, we were doing models only. So children would create models, they would bring them into the school, heavy models, and then we will store them as evidences for CBSE to see them that what we are doing. So apart from that, you can actually integrate art over there and then be more innovative. Let's talk about the CBSE guidelines that we have already there present in the curriculum. If you have gone to the CBSE academic website, you will, the curriculum document itself, you will get these guidelines for internal assessment. I'll try to show, yes, it is there. So you get this, something like this, the special scheme or internal assessment for projects. They've already given you in the month of July. So please go through this. The internal assessments marks are already being given over there and how they have to be conducted in the class. So you can see over here, it is written over there that art integrated project will continue as per the guidelines given in the circular number 33. So I will suggest all of you to please go through this and then implement it in your schools. Let's come to the term-wise weightage of different scenarios. Now, what happens? There are two kinds of scenarios. That is term one, when there is no lockdown, when our students are actually coming to school. That is grade 10 and 12 is actually coming to school right now. Then the exams that board is going to give us, that is the OMR sheets and the MCQ exam that board is going to give, is actually conducted in the school. But in term two, supposing the third wave comes and there is a down over there, then this MCQ scriptive, whatever the decision taken by the board in the month of February, according to that, this exam, if it is taken at home, then the weightage of term one will increase. But in case term one is taken from home and term two also is taken from home, then the weightage of internal assessment marks will be increased. So please remember that your internal assessment, whatever kind of internal assessments you are taking, take them properly as per the board regulations, because they will be very, very significant at the end of the year. Rationalized syllabus, as I've already told you, they have given you in the curriculum document, you can go through them. Now, let's come to the guidelines that they have given. Again, syllabus is rationalized, academic session to 2 terms, that is 50% syllabus in term 1, 50% in term 2. Term 1 would be MCQ-based exam with 90 minutes duration, and term 2 would be 120 minutes paper with a different question format, which we do not know as of now. It can be a combination of MCQ and theory-based, or only theory-based, or only MCQ, depending upon the circumstances and the decision of the board. So please, keep on emphasizing on the internal assessments and do them properly. Let's come to the competency-based assessment. Now, all of you have a bosom friend. When you entered the education fraternity, whether as a teacher or as an administrator or an educator, you were always, this bosom friend is always with you, and without him, you cannot actually prepare a lesson plan or teach in your classes. Can you guess who this bosom friend is? Everyone has it, and even now you have it. Okay. So even though I don't know what are the guesses, but I will tell you, this friend of yours, the best friend that you have in your school, is Mr. Benjamin Bloom. Mr. Benjamin Bloom, who had given the Bloom's taxonomy in the year 1956. Without him, you cannot teach anything. Without him, without his concepts, you cannot make your lesson plan. So this is what he's given. In 1956, he actually spoke about knowledge. You can see that on the pyramid, knowledge was at the bottom, comprehension, then application, analysis, synthesis, and then evaluation. So from lower order thinking skills, we are going towards the higher order thinking skills. And in 1956, when this model was proposed, this was actually, if you see, it's a kind of a noun. So only names are given over there. When you come to 2001, this model actually becomes, there is action in this model now. This model becomes work. And if you see, knowledge is replaced by remember. So the child has to remember. The student then has to understand. The student will apply what has he understood. He will analyze, he will evaluate, and then probably he will create. So if I come to understanding this part, imagine if the only question, for example, what is photosynthesis? This is only a remembering part of the child. If you ask him, is photosynthesis occurring in purple leaves also? Then probably the understanding will apply. If you ask him, okay, this is the plant, it is purple color, but don't know whether photosynthesis is occurring or respiration is occurring. Why is the plant dying over here? That is the application, and then further he analyzes, and then probably he might create a plant wherein the colors are the colors of the leaves change to white also. We don't know whether he becomes a scientist. So in this scenario, that is where the child has actually developed his skills. Now, when I'm talking about these skills, these are what are called as competencies. So when CBSE says I'm going to check the competencies, or MCQ based questions will be based on competencies, they are going to be based on these competencies, that is remembering, understanding, application, analyzing, evaluation, and finally the creation. I'll give you another very simple example. Let us imagine that you have an instruction to the students, please hold sand in your hand and tell me what happens. So student A, who is only remembering, he might say he has just the competency of remembering only. So he might tell you, okay, the sand has slipped from my hand. I don't know why it has slipped. Ma'am, you have to give me more. There's another student B who has understood. So he might tell you that, yes, ma'am, I have sand in my hand, but it has slipped from my fingers because the texture is soft over here and slippery. There might be a student C who will say, he holds the sand, he understands the texture, and then he actually brings a bowl and tries to let the sand slip from his finger, and then kneads a dough out of it and creates a bowl. So this is how he has applied his competencies of remembering, as well as understanding, as well as analyzing, and then creating something over there. So what we need to do when we are creating an MCQ question paper, we have to keep all these competencies in our mind and then create the question paper. Let's go to the competency-based education curriculum. So what is exactly that? As I told you, I will just reiterate. It covers the topics which are relevant to employment and daily life. So it is totally skill-based. When I talk about the National Education Policy 2020, which is launched, if you think about it carefully, it is also skill-based. That is, it also emphasizes competencies in the children. It says that is why from grade 6 onwards, NEP emphasizes on internships. It says you have to give internships to the students. You have to give them skill-based courses. Let them learn something. Let them learn carpentry. Let them be an electrician. They have to understand their daily life skills also, and they build their competencies. So what we are thinking about, we're actually thinking about application of whatever they have learned in the textbooks, which is not happening and which NEP has been emphasizing. And that is what is going to be the MCQ-based question paper. So we are going to integrate HOTS, that is higher order thinking skills. Now, there are connections within and between subjects. If you take two NCERT books, for example, let's say mathematics and science book. So if the chapter 10 of mathematics book of class 10 is trigonometry, and it talks about, let's say, length, breadth, and certain degrees, chapter 10 of NCERT book of science will also have certain concepts on length, breadth, and probably degrees. You have to just think very carefully, read them carefully. Please read between the lines. A lot of research has been done in developing these NCERT textbooks, and that is why they keep on telling you interlink the subjects. Okay. To variation of exam. You just see the second part, 20 to 25% extra additional questions should be given in each section for learners. So remember, in an MCQ question paper, if you have 4 sections over there, so if I have 4 sections and I have 40 marks of paper, so out of 40 marks, 20% have to be given in each section for learners to exercise their choices. So if I have 4 questions in section A, I will probably give them, let's say, 7 questions in section A. The children can choose from section A any 4 out of 7 and attempt it. Now remember, they are doing this thing on an OMR sheet. CBSE also says very clearly in the circular that if the child is attempting the questions, there are children who will be on a safe side and they'll say, okay, I don't want to choose over here. I have enough time and I'm going to do all the 7 questions. So in that case, the first 4 questions will only be scored by the OMR sheet, not the rest 3. So make your children aware of this, that only do those questions which you have been, you choose, not all the choices over there. Second, as 20% case-based questions have to be incorporated on the question level. So just imagine if you have 40-mark question paper, so that means out of 40 marks, your 8 marks, at least 8 marks should be case-based. Let's come to the assessment framework over here. You can see the cognitive domain. So again, we are referring to the Bloom's taxonomy. My cognitive domain is knowing over here, demonstrating knowledge. This is my objective, learning objective, and my thinking process. When I'm talking about thinking process, these are the competencies that are going to be tested over there. And the marks. Now think about it. Knowing, that means just remembering, recalling, recognizing, identifying. This is 50% of the question paper. So 50% means out of 40 marks, 20 marks will be based on this. And out of these 20 marks, easy, 4 marks would be medium question and 4 marks would be given to the hard questions, which you think the children would find maybe, a below average child may not be able to do it. When you come to the next cognitive domain, the application. And which are the competencies? Comparing, contrasting, classifying, relating, using models. You are interpreting certain information, you are explaining something. Now this is 30% of the question paper. That means you are going to allocate 12 marks for this. And out of these 12 marks, easy questions which everybody can attempt would be 4 marks. Much higher would be 4 marks again. And special children again 4 marks. After that, you have the reasoning component. Again, your competencies are analyzing, synthesizing, formulating hypotheses, predictions. Now, in this component, remember I told you case-based questions have to be 8 marks. In this component, you can actually take case-based questions. You can actually take the assertion reasoning questions as well. And there is no easy question because this is based totally, reasoning will be based on the HOTS. So it is at the apex of Benjamin model, the Bloom's taxonomy. There is no easy question. You have 4 marks of medium questions and 4 marks for hard questions that you can ask. Okay. Something to with you, the competencies to be tested are actually mentioned in the learning objectives over here. And this is a document which is given by CBSE on their own website, that is cbseacademic.nrc.in. And when you go through the curriculum documents, you will actually get it. For every chapter, they have given you a learning objective. And when you read the learning objective very carefully, you will see the competency is already shared with you. You just have to observe what they are going to ask you. So this is just an example for you. In science subject, if you have chemical reaction and equations, they've given the concept, okay, introduce, what is your learning objective? It is compare. So you are actually comparing. You are actually in chemical equations, you are relating. You are again using certain chemical symbols. You can see demonstrating knowledge, that is comparison, relating, application of the law of conservation of mass, classifying, predicting. When you come to predicting, you are actually reaching the synthesis or prediction or creation part. So that is something which is already given over there. Now we come to the types and the formats of MCQs. So what are these formats? MCQs will have 4 options with no 4 types of MCQs. We have simple MCQs, which test knowledge and they can be of 20 marks. We have complex MCQs, which will include multiple selection as well as sequencing. We are going to delve into all these things ahead. I will be explaining you what they are actually. And this complex MCQ can be of 6 marks, you can see over there. And then we have case-based MCQs, which are of 8 marks. And finally, assertion reasoning questions for every subject for 6 marks. Now, when I talk about assertion reasoning questions, and as we go ahead, they were actually existed, assertion reasoning actually existed even in the yesteryears, but in the subject of science. Now, probably we are just guessing that they will be added in all the subjects. So we are going to look into that, how we can do assertion reasoning in all the subjects. And we are talking specifically for languages as well. When I talk about case-based multiple choice questions, again, 30% of mathematics paper was already case-based in the previous years also, before the pandemic. But now, in fact, case-based component has been reduced to 50%. So we are just going to check out what kind of questions we can have. All right, so this is a multiple choice item, which is a very simple MCQ. You can see over here, when I have, how do we create an MCQ? I have a problem, which is called as the stem. And then I have solutions over here. You can see over here, this is my stem. Which of the following is a displacement reaction? This is a stem over here. That is my problem, a question. And A, B, C, D options are my alternatives. When I talk about alternatives, there is one option that is correct. So that is my response. And there are 3 options which are my distractors. So your distractors should actually be similar to the response. Otherwise, if they are offbeat, the child will be able to quickly catch it. So you won't be able to trigger the mind. So here you can see which of the following is a displacement reaction. You have magnesium carbonate gives us magnesium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Then sodium plus water gives us sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen. And then you have hydrogen plus oxygen gives us water. And then you have the D option, that is lead nitrate, gives us lead oxide and then nitrogen oxide. So in this, if you can see, all these are distractors, and my correct answer is actually sodium plus water gives us sodium hydroxide. I'll give you the anatomy of an MCQ right now very quickly. So this is an example. If I have this question, this is my stem over here. These are my, you can see this is my answer key, London, because I'm talking about the capital of UK over here. And my distractors are Edinburgh and Manchester. You can see they're almost similar to London. So the child has to think about it. He has to apply his knowledge, whatever he has learned. Let's go to the simple MCQs. Now, before we get into MCQs and I talk about it, MCQs, just remember that they are not to test the ability of someone in recalling what they have, information they have. They are actually made to measure the performance within the field and the ability of the child to apply what he has learned. Recalling is a very, very rudimentary competency that every child might be having. So let's focus on the application part over here. Also, when I'm talking about MCQs, you must have been preparing your MCQs to Google Docs or Google Forms over there. I would add over there that you can actually make it interesting, as Dr. Salam said, that let's start it from the lower grades as well. So I would suggest you, if you start giving your MCQ this pattern, from grade 5 onwards. And to make it interesting for these little children, you can incorporate graphs. You can use pie graphs, you can use bar graphs, you can use videos. You can actually insert videos of over there in the form itself, your objective form. You can use a word grid or a crossword. You can use GIF images. Try to use more of GIF images now, because they are the in thing and children just love them, and especially the younger lot. I'll start with the simple MCQ. A simple MCQ will have one question stem and 4 options. When I talk about 4 options, please remember, apart from the true-false questions that you might give to the children, okay, whether the statement is true or false, there are only 2 options, that is true or false. Apart from that, every MCQ that you create, please have minimum 4 options for the MCQ. So let's see, this is a very simple MCQ. Sanjay added a few drops of phenolphthalein indicator to a colorless solution, which turned pink, and which of the following could be the nature of the solution? So he has to apply the knowledge of acidic and basic over here. So whether it is acidic, basic, neutral, either basic or neutral. This is a very simple MCQ based on remembering and understanding. Let's come to the writing section. Somebody had actually asked this in the registration forms, that how do we make a create an MCQ based on the writing section. When I'm talking about writing section in languages, it is basically the creative writing section. So how do you do creative writing? There was another question, if you are testing creative writing in MCQ, how will they write creatively then? How will they learn how to write creatively then? How will they write a paragraph then? See, if you really want your children, what are you testing in creative writing? Is it creativity? How they create, what kind of language they are using, where is the language development happening? For this, board has already given you subject enrichment activities and multiple assessment activities. So you can ask the children to write poetry over there. You can ask the children to write in length a diary writing over there or an article over there. You can do that. You have full liberty to do that and let the child explore his potential. In fact, as educators, you are also not bound to the marking scheme. For example, letter likha hai, so letter only for, the address will be of half mark. How the child has written creatively is of 2 marks. How he has closed is for half mark. That there you are, as educators, you are also restricted to the marking scheme. Right now, you have the advantage of actually your child explore his creativity and do all these things in writing in your subject enrichment activities and your multiple assessment activities. Now, coming to MCQs for creative writing section, we can see over here, which of the following does not contain an illustration? So, TV, newspaper, classified advertisement, or a movie. What is the answer? I cannot see your answers, but the answer would be what? And does not contain an illustration. So, classified advertisement does not contain any kind of illustration. Advertisement is a part of the syllabus of grade 12 English. Let's go to the next question. A notice should be written in first person, second person, third person, or in any way. So it has to be written in third person. The means of communication in notice is the child should know it. Formal, personal, informal, or verbal. So it has to be personal. So this is how probably you can ask your simple MCQs for the creative writing section. Let's come to the multiple selection. What are multiple selection MCQs? You can see in the example, which of the following is a physical change? So I have 4 options over there. Melting of ice, burning a paper, tearing a paper, boiling of water. And then I have the options over here. You can see the options. Because there can be more than one option in a multiple selection, I can have more than one choices which are correct. So my options would be 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1, 3 and 4, or 2 and 4. So it depends upon over there. This is what is multiple selection. When I talk about simple MCQ, that means A, B, C, D, the child has to just put a tick mark on one. When I talk about multiple selection, they have to select multiple responses over there and then think about it, okay, which response is correct. Sequencing or ordering type, the language teachers have done this over the years when you are actually reordering a sentence. So that is sequencing or ordering type of MCQ. You can do this in science also. You can do this in mathematics also. How do you do in mathematics sequencing? You can actually, for example, you have some formula. You can actually solve a sum over there and then give the steps over there. Ask them to sequence it. So what is the sequence of taking the solution out? So that is your ordering type or sequencing. You can actually have a theorem and solve a theorem and put it in steps, step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, rearrange the steps. And then you put them in the options A, B, C, D over there. So right now it is just the correct order of the stage and life cycle of a butterfly. Egg, caterpillar, pupa, adult, egg, caterpillar. So what do you think it is? It's probably A, you have the egg, caterpillar, pupa, and the adult. Okay. So now let's come to the writing section again based on this thing. Multiple MCQs. How can you ask multiple MCQs? In the writing section, creative writing part of English and Hindi. So I'm giving you an example over here. In an advertisement of for sale, what is the correct order in sale of vehicle advertisement? Do I write the contact number first? Do I write fully insured expected price first? Do I write for sale first? Or do I write available a Honda City top model, good working condition, 2019 model? The child has to decide the order of this. In what order will he describe the advertisement for sale of a vehicle, and then he has to pick up a choice over here. Let's come to the case-based MCQs. This is an example over here. During the recent pandemic times, there was a sudden rise in the requirement for oxygen in the hospitals. Now, what are case-based MCQs? First of all, case-based MCQs are essentially your concepts related to the real-life situations. So I am not going to ask from where will you get an oxygen producing cylinder. That is not my question. My question would be, during the pandemic time, there was a sudden rise in the requirement for oxygen. As a result, oxygen containers were in high demand. There are two variants of the containers. One is air-based and the other is water-based. These machines were literally lifesavers for the patient. So my question is, what changes are going on in the air-based and the water-based oxygen concentrators as a whole when they produce oxygen? All right, it's a very simple thing. I've already taught the children physical change chapter, chemical change chapter, and what has to be done. So now the child needs to think what kind of change is happening over here. This is a typical case-based MCQ. Now, in creative writing section, in languages, whether it is English or Hindi, how do I create a case study method? You can see over here, yesterday during lunch break, you misplaced your notes of physics lectures. You need them urgently. So you complete this notice for the school notice board and you are Naina or Taran, a student of 10th. It's the same question that you have been getting in the English question papers over the years. But now I have just twisted it to make it a case-based question. So I have my school's name, I have my notice, and I've given them 4 blanks over there. So you can have this as a 4 marker over there instead of 1 marker. So what do? You can see they chose the most appropriate options over here. A, the ones in bold are the answers for you. So I've just created that. So these are the 4 options that he's getting. B, this is the answer. C, this is the answer. And D, this is the answer. So when you're doing a case-based study, remember, case-based studies can carry more than 4 questions. It depends upon you. It's something very similar. When you boil it down, it is something very, very similar to a comprehension passage that you give in English or Hindi or any other language, original language that you have. So you just have to create a concept, a real life situation which is relating to the concept, and then make 4 or 5 questions, and it can be more than 1 mark. Okay, let's go to case-based MCQs in mathematics. This was an in-demand question that I had seen in the responses that you people had given. So you can see over here, it's a very simple question which is already in your textbooks. I have taken it actually from a textbook, NCRT textbook. So Suresh is having a garden near Delhi. In the garden, there are different types of plants. And one day, due to heavy rain and storm, one of the trees break. The height of the unbroken part is 15 meters. The broken part is this much. And then you have to use a Pythagoras over here and find out what is the length of the broken part, what was the height of the tree. In the formed right angle triangle, what is the length of the hypotenuse, what is the area of the right angle triangle. You can see all options are given over there. I think I should be clear about all these MCQs. Now, this is for you. Somebody asked, can you explain what exactly are case-based? I think I've explained case-based questions are real life-based questions. How do we solve them? This was also a question over there. So questions which are based on a given case study, they're normally taken from real life situations. They are certainly related to the concepts which are given in your textbook, but the plot of the question will always be based on a day-to-day life problem. So there will be MCQs which are based on the case study, but they are very, very short answers, and the children just have to write down the correct option. Is it easy or difficult? No, they are not difficult. You must have seen the examples which we have just done. They are very easy questions. We provide them a real life situation only to apply their concept. So if they can apply their concept, they are going above the notch of remember, understanding, and then application. So we are actually bringing our students to that apex of the pyramid of taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy. So let's all together, actually, we should all aim for this. Let's come to assertion and reasoning based. So what exactly is first assertion and reasoning based questions? Now, assertion and reasoning, they consist of 2 statements. One is an assertion, that is a fact or a statement. And the other is, you can see a reason, that is the why part. Why does this happen? So what do you do? And these are the options you have taken over here. You can see A part, both are correct. Reason is the correct explanation of assertion. B, both are correct, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. C, assertion is correct, but reason is wrong. And D option is assertion is wrong, but reason is correct. All right. So once I give these instructions in the assertion and reasoning type questions on the top, after that, my job becomes simple. I just ask them probably 6 assertion reasoning type questions, and I just ask them whether the answer is A, B, C, or D. They just have to put a tick mark on A, B, C, or D, referring to the keys that is given in the question. You need not write this key time and again every time with every question. So here assertion is all concentrated acids are strong. I'll go back, and all dilute acids are weak. So strong acids have lower pH than weak acids. This is my reason, and my assertion would be both are correct. Reason is the correct explanation, and so you can find it. Let's go to the next example. Assertion is seeds should be treated with fungicide solution. My reason would be seeds do not germinate unless treated with fungicide solution. Now this is a query for you. If you want to answer, you can answer in the chat box. And the second example also you can look that an appendix is a vestigial organ in the human body, and reason would be it does not participate in digestion. So I am not giving all those the key answers over here. I will just ask the child, okay, whether it is option A, option B, option C, or option D. So option A means both A and R are correct, and R is the correct reason of A. Option B, both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct reason of A. Option C, A is false, but R is true. Option D, R is false, but A is true. The child has to remember this, and I have experienced personally. See, it takes a little time to frame these questions, but if you understand and you start framing them, maybe one question, two questions, second question will take time, but after that you get a knack of it. And also just remember, these are the kind of questions that you're going to get in all the competitive exams that the children appear for after grade 12. So why not get them ready right away? This is the assertion reasoning question in mathematics that I've given you with solution, because there was a demand, how do we ask an assertion reasoning question in mathematics? So you can see this, the point which divides the line joining these points internally in the ratio is this. The reason is given below this, and I've given you the answer also. So the assertion is correct. The solution is given there. So correct option is A, because reason is true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion A. This is how you can actually ask an assertion reasoning question in mathematics. I will go forward. This is again the point on the x-axis, which is equidistant from the points. This is the assertion, the reason is given on the coordinates, and then the answer is given with the solution. Now, in your MCQ question paper, you will, this is only for reference purpose, for your reference, but in your MCQ question paper, you will not be giving this answer. You will only ask the child which is the correct option, A, B, C, or D. You can also have your theorems in such kind of questions. It depends upon the creativity of the educator and how beyond the books. See, if you are talking to the students, kindly think beyond the books. Test your hot skills. The same competencies apply to us educators also. So now it is our time to test our competencies as well. Are we creating? Are we on the apex of the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid? So it is our testing point. So why not get into it? So these are all, this is a lower level of grade 10. When a positive integer A is divided by 4, the values of the remaining can be 0, 1, 2, or 3. And we have actually given the reason of Euclid's division. And the answer is actually A. Both assertion and reason are correct. And reason is the correct explanation of assertion over here. Another one, a very simple question, which you can boil it down. The two numbers is this, the product is this, and then the LCM is this. So if A, B are two positive integers, the HCF into LCM is A into B. If you know, this is the rule given over there. So whether this rule, that is this reason, justifies the assertion, the reason is true, and the assertion is false over here. The correct option you can see over here, it is D. And the solution is also given. This is another one which has been taken back from grade 9. 12 9 and raised to power n ends with the digit 0, where n is a natural number, and the reason is any number ends with the digit 0 if its prime factor is of the form 2 raised to power m, then they are natural numbers. So you've got all these things, and this correct option is actually D given over here. Now let's talk about the general strategies. Any queries regarding MCQs formation? I think now you should be better equipped with how to create MCQs. So first of all, I will, give a recommendation to you over here. That is, please start thinking backwards. When I talk about backwards, we think about forwards. Okay, this is what I have to do. Let us think about what is the child going to appear for in exam. So if I'm talking about assessment, right now we are talking about assessment that is actually going to be MCQ. This is my aim. Now from that aim, I'm going to start thinking backwards from there. How do I do it? So I have to change my teaching strategy in the class. Then I can go and reach that goal of letting my child perform well in the board exams or in my pre-board exams? So first of all, start writing questions throughout the term. So don't be a late Latif over there, okay? Please start writing whenever you are teaching. So it's a part of your lesson plan now. Create maybe 10 MCQs. Earlier you were creating, if you remember, your lesson plans used to consist of explanation part and then certain kind of homework and then assignments. So now your lesson plan will consist of creating MCQs of 4 kinds, minimum 4 kinds that I've just given you. That is simple MCQ, a complex MCQ, a sequencing MCQ, assertion, reasoning, and case study. So these 5 MCQs are a must in your lesson plan, irrespective of your subject. Instruct your students to select the best answer rather than the correct answer. So when you have option ABCD, the student might get confused. Please tell them, please select the answer which is the best over there. Do not find the correct answer and use familiar language. When I talk about familiar language, see, do not try to show off your knowledge or what kind of vocabulary that you have. Please boil it down to the child. The child is our focus over here. So I always tell educators over here that please remember when you were 5-year-old or when you were 15-year-old, how did you feel? It's the same thing that the child is feeling. So come down to your emotions and give them what they want in their language, not in your own research language over there. Avoid giving verbal association clues from the stem in the key. So when I say avoid using verbal clues, what happens is I will give first question as the capital of India is New Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai. These are my options. All right, or Kolkata. My second question becomes New Delhi, the capital of India, has Qutub Minar, Lal Darwaza, or Lal Qila. Now, what am I doing? I'm actually associating my second question and giving a clue over there for the first question, which is not allowed. So do not do that. Do not give any verbal association clues from the stem in the key. Avoid any kind of negative wording. The students often fail to observe these negative things. And sometimes there are 2 negatives. For example, he does not want to do. There is a negative as well as an opposite over there to confuse them. So do not do that. In the rare cases, whenever you use negatives, please make it bold in the uppercase. As I've done over here, the University of Waterloo does not have a building of this name. So the child can focus on it and then he will give you the correct answer. The stem should be meaningful by itself and should present a definite problem. I think that much is clear. You write the stem first. So what is your stem? Your stem is your problem. You describe a definite problem. That is, again, do not be vague. I'll give you an example where your stem is not meaningful. Which of the following is a true statement? You can see over here, I have mitochondrial genomes are relatively constant in content. Mitochondrial genomes are relatively constant in organization. Mitochondrial genomes are relatively constant in size. So if you see my options over here, instead of asking which of the following is a true statement, I could actually have given the common statement from here. What is that? That what characteristic is relatively constant in mitochondrial genome across species? And my options would have been very short and sweet: content, organization, and size. This shows the clarity of mind of the educator as well. So, and another thing, you eliminate excessive wording and irrelevant information from your problem question or the stem. So you can see over here an example I've given you. A number of books have been published about the University of Waterloo. These books fall into various genres, such as photographic histories, biographies, etc. And last thing I'm asking them is, among them was a book whose author is known as Simon. What is the title of this book? What I've done, I've actually given irrelevant information from the stem over here, and then I'm asking them questions. Besides that, what I need to do over here is a better question. I could simply jump on this. What is the title of the book about Waterloo written by Simon the Troll? And I have my answers over here. Create full sentences, preferably in question form. So try to avoid these interior blanks that you have. You can see over here, in addition to the nucleus, there are organelles that contain DNA. I could simply ask over here, in addition to the nucleus, which organelles are contained in DNA? And the child would have given me an answer over here. So try to avoid such inside blanks over there. All alternatives. Now let's come to the alternatives. Designing effective alternatives. This was all about stems. All alternatives should be plausible. When I talk about plausible, they have to be reasonable. I'll show you one example over here. Who gathered the data that helped reveal the structure of DNA? I have Francis Crick, George Washington, James Watson, Rosalind Franklin, and Snoopy. A child who is intelligent enough will directly jump into it because George Washington and Snoopy, they are irrelevant answers over here. So do not give these unreasonable answers. If you are having scientists over there, please give all the scientists. If you are having linguists over there, please give all the linguists. If you have certain characteristics over there, then give similar characteristics, and then the child is able to distinguish, okay, this is all relating to it. He will take a little bit of time over there. Let's come to alternatives should be free from clues. As I explained you about New Delhi example. So do not give clues to them. It is important that alternatives have grammar which is consistent with the STEM. So if you are creating a STEM question which is in present tense, so your alternative should also be in present tense. Yes, Bhavika?
Apologies for disturbing the flow of your session. A humble appeal on behalf of the participants, if you could just slow down a bit so that it's easy to grasp the information. Thank you.
All right. Do I have to restart again from anywhere where they have missed?
No,
that's okay. All right, fine. Thank you. Yeah. The alternatives the grammar has to be consistent with the STEM. So when you're asking the STEM question in present form, the alternative should also be in present tense. When the STEM is in past, the alternatives also have to be in past. They have to be similar in length and try to use the similar language. For example, if you are using a textbook language, then please use all the alternatives of the textbook language. If you are using an alternative which is unlike the textbook language, or you have made or created on your own a statement, then create all the statements on your own. Then do not merge it with the textbook language. The alternatives, this is a very common error that everybody does. All of the above, none of the above. The educator has a free hand over there and goes very easy over there. So please try to avoid all of the above and none of the above as an alternative in your questions. Next, the alternative should be presented in a logical order. That is, whether it is alphabetical or numerical, at least try to present them in a logical order. I've given you two examples over here. You can see, consider the reaction. I have fructose plus oxygen gives me carbon dioxide plus water. When I ask them a question that which molecule is being oxidized over here, I'm actually going in the order, whether it is fructose, whether it is oxygen, whether it is carbon dioxide, or whether it is water. You can again use this in order also. See this alphabetical order question over here. You can see I have used active transport pumps, exocytosis, facilitated diffusion, phagocytosis, and then simple diffusion. You can see the words over here A, E, F, P, S. I tried to give them a logical order over there in terms of alphabetical logical order. Let's have a quick recap of the alternatives. So what do you do in quick recap? You first limit the number of alternatives. That is, your alternatives have to be 4. Minimum 4 alternatives. Please do not exceed 4. But there can be 2 also, as I said, in terms of true and false questions. Make sure that there is only one best answer. So there is one best answer only. That means avoid having 2 or more options that are correct. But where one is more correct than the others, they can have the best answer possibility over there. Make the distractors appealing and plausible. When I talk about plausible, that means they should be reasonable. Students will too easily, they will easily locate the correct answers, even if they have little knowledge of if your distractors are not reasonable. So when testing for recognition of key terms and ideas, keep the distractors similar in length and the language as the correct. Test conceptual understanding, then distractors should represent common mistakes which are made by students. Okay, so now make the choices which are grammatically consistent. Again, as I told you, follow the tenses over there. Place the choices in some meaningful order, either alphabetical, whatever is your order of the question. You can choose your own order. You can randomly distribute the correct response. Avoid using all of the above, none of the above. Refrain from using words such as always, never, all, or none. This only shows that the educator herself is not sure of what he's asking or she is asking. Avoid the overlapping choices. Avoid questions like the form as I showed you, which of the following statement is correct? There is no clear question in this question. When I ask which of the following statements is correct, I'm not asking any clear question over there. And the choices are heterogeneous. So such questions are better presented if you, in case you want to ask such a kind of questions, please give a statement and then ask a true-false question. These are some tools to help you and your students in practicing MCQs. Before that, I would recommend certain things to you. First of all, please follow the backward line design or the backward planning. So aim for something and then go backward, travel backwards and start developing your MCQs in your lesson plans. Each assessment may include multiple choice questions, analyzes students' understanding and problem solving strategies actually, which he has acquired through the learning process. So alignment of your MCQs, your learning objectives and the competencies have to be there. So please go through the documents or the curriculum documents that CBSE has provided you. Besides high thinking, you are encouraged to create multiple choice questions which are based on the cognitive guidelines given in Bloom's taxonomy. All right, and that is from the lowest level to the highest level thinking, and which we have to remember. It is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Bloom's model is your the go-getter thing and the base of all your MCQs. So please apply that. The focus should be on constructing.
Shilpa madam, somebody wants the previous slide.
Yes, sir. Somebody wants
the previous slide once again.
This one or the previous one? This one? Do they need the website, sir?
Yes, this one, this one.
This one, the recap alternatives? Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. So as educators, you focus on constructing multiple choice items that will assess higher level cognition based on Bloom's taxonomy, and you connect the items to learning outcomes. So your three keywords are learning outcomes, Bloom's taxonomy, and the competencies. If you get them clear, your MCQs will rock. Can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am. I think that's enough.
All right. Thank you, sir.
A bit more
so these
slow.
are the, I think, yeah, I will go slow.
Somebody, you know.
Said that. Okay, I do understand that. Yeah, I do understand that. We will answer the queries also, sir, whatever they ask. Okay, so we have these tools. I think most of them must have taken a screenshot of the tools also. If they want, I can actually go through the tools. If they actually go through these are all hyperlinked.
We can share the PPT with them later, ma'am. No
yes,
problem.
yes, definitely, sir. This is something which I would like to, interact with you, all the educators over here. But as of now, as I can see, there are more than, I think, 3,000 participants are over here. Bhavika, how many participants do we have?
1,000, ma'am. 1,000 and more than 500 on YouTube live.
All right. So I will just show you how this actually be conducted in the class for MCQs. And you can do it with your children and they are just going to love it, especially the younger lot. Because they'll keep on playing games. There's another website called as Menti, MENTI. So you can use that also. This is quizzes. I'll just go through this and I'll show you what we do over here. I've prepared a question bank for you. So what you need to do is you have to log into this quizzes. You can see over here. I'm going to start an MCQ-based questionnaire over here. And this, once you create this, you can actually share the link with your students. And all the students will then do it. You can see over here. I have to, there's an assertion and a reason. So I'm going to click on any one. I'm wrong over there. I go to the next. I have diverged from the correct answer because my answer was wrong. So this is me. You can see me over there. And now again, this is a case-based study. You can actually start linking it with the competencies that you have. You've just learned in the Bloom's taxonomy competencies. Where are you using the knowledge? Where are you using application? So I'm just going to do, this is wrong. Again, I'm incorrect. I fall down in my graph. You can see me over here on 23rd number with 0 points. Again, I have a question, assertion. I'm just doing it randomly to play with you so that you realize how beautiful this can be. So I'm again incorrect. You can see me, I have 0 points. I'm still on 23rd number. The reaction represents, let's say, 2 HCl. Probably a combination, I don't know. Oh, I am correct over there. So you can see I've got a power up. And I've got a power up. And you can see that now I am rocking on 23. I've gone on 13. Again, I have some assertion over here. The cytoplasm is the main arena of cellular activities and animal cells. Various chemical reactions occur in it. And then I have both are correct. Oh, I am wrong. This was a fluke. You can see me. From 23, I've gone to the 9th point. And this is again, I don't know whether, this is also correct. So let me see. Here I am from 9 to 8, 27, 20 points. Again, play. This might be wrong. Oh, I am correct over there. So again, I have now from 23, I've climbed up to the 5th point. Let's see. I am correct over here. So from the and where do you go to sedimentary school? So this is something I am on the 4th point with 47, 30 points. Chemically rusted, I am wrong over here. So I'm going to fall down in my game plan. Let's say here you can see I've fallen down from 4th to 6th. Heat is evolved, I don't know, during combustion reaction. So again, if you see, I from 4th to I'm now fallen down to 7th position over there. And here, which one should come first? Probably open a jar of butter, which I do not know. See the number of questions on the of this screen. It is 11 out of 13. This is me with 5,640 points. I am just doing it randomly. You can see the question over here. And all my MCQs over there if you see. I have fallen down to 8th position. And this is some crystals of copper sulfate. So I'm going to do this. Let me see. And yes, boring is one, but I have completed 13 questions and I've climbed from 23rd to 5th point. My quiz is over now. Did you enjoy?
Madam,
Abdul sir, did you enjoy it?
Shilpa ma'am, there is a question. Will CBSE use this platform quizzes for grade 10 and 12?
No, CBSE will not use it. This is for grade 5, 6, 7, 8. Why not have fun with them sometimes?
Yes.
So this is all gamification and learning, which even CBSE Sahoday and even CBSE resource it. I have myself attended a gamification and learning program over there. So you can actually club this in your virtual classes and they will enjoy it. Especially they get hooked to MCQs over there. If you want to give case-based studies, if you want to give assertion and reasoning, start using these platforms. They will get hooked to it. And then you give them a question paper. Okay, you scored over there. You were on 13th position. The children have a fight among themselves. Student A will say, I was on the 13th position. Student B says, oh, I reached 5th position with the same questionnaire. And the teacher says, okay, you were on 5th or 13th. Now let's do it in print form. Let's come to that. So this is something which you can explore. Now I had an activity for all the teachers over here. You can read the problem. You have to create 4 MCQs using knowledge-based, sequencing, case-based, and assertion reasoning methods. The problem is given to you over here. You can try making these questions out of this, and I tell you that I have taken the question from the CBSE textbook only. If you really want to see case-based studies, you should actually grab hold an economics textbook. It has of grade 9 and 10. It has only case-based studies. There is very little content in them which the children have to study actually. And the question paper also has only case-based questions. The only difference would be now we would be asking them in the form of MCQs. Probably, I can ask a question from there. What does Sapna grow? That is a knowledge-based question. Sapna grows whatever, a crop. The second question could be Sapna sprays her crops with pesticides. Sapna takes a loan. This is my sequencing. So I'm going to give a sequence. What does Sapna do? Sapna sprays her crops with pesticides. Number 1. She takes a loan from the money lender. Number 2, Sapna takes a fresh loan next year. The crops hit by pests. So what is my sequence? The child has to put an MCQ over there and take a correct mark. If I talk about an assertion reasoning, my assertion could be Sapna was in debt. This is my statement. Then is the crop got destroyed. So whether it is A, B, C or D, it depends upon you. So what are the rules to create effective MCQs? I would have liked all the educators, all the attendees over here to give me in the chat box, but right now I'm just discussing it with you. You can use that. Rule 1, test comprehension and critical thinking, and not just recall. So we are not just testing remembering over there. Rule 2, use simple sentence structure and precise wording. So do not write your STEM statements in excessive wording, and do not flaunt your vocabulary over there. Rule 3, place most of these questions, place most of the words in the question stem. So what you do is place most of the words in the question stem. So your answers should be concise, whatever alternatives you are giving. Rule 4, make all distractors plausible, that is reasonable enough. Keep all answer choices of the same length. It should not be that on A option I have just one word, B option I exceed to 3 words, C option I exceed to maybe 2 lines over there. Do not do that, please. If you have only one word, then A, B, C should have one word. Avoid double negatives. Mix up the order of the correct answers. You will have this option in Google form also. They give you, every time the student takes out a Google questionnaire, you can have that all the questions will be reshuffled. So you can do that with your younger children. Rule 8 says keep the number of options consistent. So if I'm telling you, please have 4 options or 4 alternatives, make sure that everywhere you have 4 alternatives, whether it is an assertion reason-based question or it's a case study. Rule 9 says avoid tricking test takers. So when I say avoid tricking test takers means when you are actually doing double negatives over there, you are not giving them plausible answers over there. That is when you are tricking them. Do not use all of the above. I would say do not use. Although it is written over there, use them with caution, but try not to use the above and none of the above, or maybe always, none, all. All these words and all these statements, they actually reflect that the educator himself or herself is not sure about what he's asking or what he's expecting as an answer from the child. So that's it, Bhavika. Any queries? You can now forward. I hope I was useful to everyone over here.
Absolutely, ma'am. It's an extremely insightful session, and there have been a lot of queries we received at the time of the registration, and even now the chat box is full of questions. So I would first take up the questions that were received by us during the time of registration. So participants, you can also post your questions in the chat box, and ma'am would be answering them. She will be addressing the questions. Meanwhile, I shall start reading out the questions from the spreadsheet received, Dr. Shilpa.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first question is, will there be assertion and reasoning-based question in Hindi as well? So I think
yes, ma'am. If I can have questions, assertion and reasoning-based question in English, why not in Hindi? It's the same language. All languages can have. And we should not be asking a question like this, that whether we will have it in Hindi or not. Let us think productively and positively. Why not try to create assertion reasoning questions in subjects like languages as well, whether it is Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil, anything. We can create. If we are educators, we are capable of doing everything. We just have to understand the anatomy of the question. So assertion is a simple statement and they're already doing it. हिंदी में भी अगर वो कर रहे हैं तो हिंदी में एक सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन, जैसे हरिवंश राय बच्चन बहुत उदास थे, उसके बाद उसका रीजन क्या है, क्योंकि बारिश हो रही थी. आप ऑप्शंस क्या आएंगे? क्या वो ए ऑप्शन हरिवंश राय बच्चन बारिश हो रही थी इसलिए उदास थे, दैट इज ए. बी नहीं थे. सी वो सारा assertion and reasoning का जिसका भी वो actually the part is that will come in that. They can even relate it to their textual chapters. So that can happen and they should be doing it.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. I move on to the next question. Please share MCQ questions related to analytical writing, case-based writing, passages, etc.
I think I've done that in my PPT right now. I did show them. I did cover that.
Yes.
So they should be clear by now. In spite of that, if they have any queries relating to it, I'm ready to help them out.
I'm sure you addressed that
yes,
very
sir.
well.
CBSE has released sample question papers the moment we started this session.
Right now?
Yes.
Really
and the same thing, the way you did the same thing, especially with English, the same way, what you were explaining.
All right.
writing part.
Okay.
Many were
Yes.
concerned about writing part the same way.
All right. That's great. Even Hindi will be the same, sir. In fact, we
Yeah,
should
all
start trying
languages
to
will be.
imbibe all these things in our daily life, in our daily papers, in our daily lesson plans, so that by the time our children, because pattern will change. In 2024, if they say they are going to change the assessment pattern of 10th, it will change. So why not embrace the change?
Absolutely, ma'am. Well said. So the next question says, will the question paper contain sections? Will the sections be based on units or different types of MCQ?
I think now, Salim sir, you should be answering all the questions. You must have seen the paper.
Yes, ma'am. I think
I
when we
think there
go
should be
through,
sections.
I
There
have
should be
just gone
sections.
through English only,
There are
where
sections,
all
sir.
where all the sections have MCQs only. I
Yeah,
just went through English.
but have they divided them into sections A, B, C,
Yes,
D?
yes. ABC.
Yeah. So that means Bhavika, they are
Yes.
following the same pattern of question paper which they were doing it for the theoretical papers. The only difference is the theoretical questions will be turned into MCQs. That is the only difference. Otherwise, all sections will be there, whether it is science, whether it is Hindi, English, or any other subject.
Absolutely. Thank you for the clarity, ma'am. I move to the next question. How to prepare MCQs for writing skills, extrapolatory questions, and also will the essence of the language not get lost while asking MCQ-based questions? So this is a concern of the language teachers, I believe. They are very worried about losing the essence of the literature part or the language part.
Yeah, that also I actually cleared with you. For the language part, you have subject enrichment activities. You have your multiple assessment. So you will never lose the essence of creative writing if you start incorporating them into those activities, because you have full freedom over there and you are not bound by the marking scheme as well. So let the child create over there. Let you also explore the, out of the box things over there. Talking about the textbook, see, textbook chapters are only, they come at the bottom of the Bloom's taxonomy, remembering and understanding. So we are actually taking out our children from that level. So textbook as such in English and Hindi, if I'm talking about it, textbook component was also only 20 marks only. The rest 60 to 70 marks was already based on comprehensions which were out of the textbook. It was based on grammar. It was based on creative writing, which was not there in the textbook. So you still can take all these questions, all these parts in your enrichment activities and assessment activities, and let the textbook be in MCQs, because that's very simple understanding and remembering. That's it.
Right. All right. Thank you for the clarity, ma'am. I move to the next question. Please also let us know about the subjective questions such as theorems. I think, ma'am, you've already answered this.
Yes. I showed them the assertion reasoning questions also. So I think now they can create their own assertion reasoning questions as well as case study based. Even sequencing, you can do it beautifully in mathematics. You just have to rack your brains. How do you do it? You don't have a choice. If you don't have a choice, what will you do?
Yes, ma'am. That's true. So the new pattern of MCQs, how to prepare MCQs in biology, for chemistry, ma'am, these are specific questions that have come in repeatedly, even for economics. So if you could just give them one more tip based on this, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Whether it is, irrespective of the subject, whether it is biology, whether it is economics, whether it is, as you said, physics, any subject, please read the textbook. That is what the teachers will tell the students. Please read the chapter. All right. So when you're reading the chapter, every statement can become an MCQ. Read it very carefully and try to, as you are taking out questions, theoretical questions, in the same manner, you will take out theoretical questions. And then instead of asking for a ready-made answer, you're actually giving the answer to the child in the form of MCQs. That is the only difference. So if you are asking, let's say, what is poverty? A very simple question.
I think ma'am again has a network issue.
Okay, so I'm going to give solutions over there in form of A, B, C, D. My answer of poverty is already given there. So this is how I give, similar in biology. If I'm asking about, okay, what is the full form of DNA? So I'm going to give them A, B, C, D, the solution over there, that, okay, the form, complete form of DNA is this, plus there are 3 distractors over there and the child has to choose. It's the same thing that they have been doing. The only thing is in the previous years, once, the objective part that they used to get in 1-mark questions, now that becomes your MCQ, simple MCQ. And you have to create the other questions as well. And I think I showed you, I'll just repeat my slide over here. There was a question, Bhavika, I don't know, I remember it. You can see over here for auto test generator question answer. So somebody, I think in the Excel sheet had asked, is there a ready-made test generator for MCQs? Yes, okay. So, yeah. So please, there is no ready-made test generator for MCQs, but there is an auto test generator which I've given you. It is called as Lumos Learning or culinos.com. You can go there, you can paste your passages over there, whatever you want, and they will give you question answers. They give you question answers out of those passages within 5 minutes. So you have all the questions. So don't take the answers from there, at least you have the questions. So now create the MCQ with that one answer, that is your solution, and then you have distractors. That much help you can get. But I would still feel as educators, you have to learn first. And we have to remember learning is a lifelong journey. So if we are not ready to learn, how are you going to teach the children to learn the new concepts?
Very well said, ma'am. I move on to the next question. How to include different images while typing match the following questions.
Yes, if you do it on Google Form, you can do it. Go on Google Form. There is on the right side, there is a tab over there, add. So when you click that, it will ask you add image or add video or add audio. You can do that. So that you will have to attend a Google Form training now. That I'm ready to give. Okay.
And I'm sure, ma'am, a lot of teachers have already accomplished.
Yes.
That is something they are all very pro at right now.
Just try to be innovative with the forms now. Give them videos, give them your own audios. You can record. There is something called Screencastify. Most of the teachers should be knowing it. If they do not know, they should know it. It is called Screencastify. That's an app as well as a website. You can auto record your voice or your videos over there and edit them as well.
Right, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the clarity. There are some more questions, ma'am. They have been posted in the chat box.
Somebody wants to ask question also. They want to, talk.
Yes, sir.
They can raise their hands. We will unmute you.
We shall do that. You could please post your questions or you raise your hand.
And also, this video is available on YouTube. Live is going on. You can refer to it. We will be also sending the PPT through the emails. Sushma Gauli, you can ask question. Ravika ma'am, please take care.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 participants have already raised their hands. Sushma
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Sushma ma'am. My question is, I am the teacher for primary section, and we have asset and CAT for exam in our school. The problem is here, ma'am, the children don't read the question properly and they end up doing question very fast. In spite of reminding them read question properly, they just want to finish it. So how to train the kids they have to do, and this is so important. What we can do for that?
So, Sushma ma'am, that's a common problem for all students because they do the question papers in a hurry. And if you're giving MCQs, there will be a plausible thing over there. I'll tell you. The first question is ticked A, B, C, and so on. They will just keep following a pattern over there. And the only thing that you can do is explain them and probably do not take their papers before the stipulated time. Ask them to be with their papers. That is the only option. And if you are teaching them virtually, then there is not much help about it. They have to be in the school where you can. The only thing as educators, what we can do is we can keep on reiterating that please read the question. Did you read the question? And one thing that you can do, if you are you using Google Forms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you're using Google Forms, you can have an add file system over there, wherein you can tell them that if you're reading a question and you have made notes out of it, please write on the rough sheet of paper and submit that rough sheet of paper also in the add file option. So there probably you can, they will take time to read because they have to comprehend and then write in that add file, that rough paper, their working of the solutions or whatever, the notes that they have taken. Probably that might help you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Shilpa ma'am, can you close the PPT so that we can see?
Sure, sir. I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Yeah. Then next is Shailaja ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. Because I happen to read in one of the CBSE circulars, there are no internal choices available, only 20 to 25%. That is what I read.
20 to
But
25%,
now,
yes.
yeah. So, but now when you said this, now since the paper has come, sample paper has come, and they have this section A, section B, section C. So that means that there is internal choice in each section, no? I mean, I was not
Ma'am, they
clear
have
about
read
that.
it. Madam, in the circular itself, if you read it very carefully, they have given over there that 20 to 25% choices will be section based. So section A will have 20% choices. Section B will have 20% choices. Section C will have 20% choices. It's something like that.
Okay. No, I was under the impression like that was there earlier also. Each section had a internal choice in the question paper itself.
So you just have to understand one thing. All of you have to understand one thing, that the paper is same. The only difference is, instead of theory, they are going to ask the children MCQs which will have solutions. Earlier they were asking only questions and the children had to write answers. Now they are going to ask the same questions, but they will be giving answers to the children, which they have to find from the MCQs.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. I move on to the next participant, Hina Gogna, ma'am. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, ma'am. My question is that in plus two sample paper, so 40 marks are there, but they have mentioned to attempt 50 questions. So my query is whether the questions will be 40 or something else that I'm not able to understand that.
We will have to follow the sample paper, ma'am. Whatever sample papers they have given, we will have to follow that.
Even 50 questions are there, but marks are 40. So how will we divide the questions?
They might have given 0.5 mark for something. No, ma'am. There are 50 questions. That means they're giving you choices.
Ma'am, 60 questions. Total 60 questions are
So
there.
there will be choices, section based. Please read that. Section based choices will be there. Are the choices counted?
Okay, I see it again, but 60 questions are there. So I'm.
No, I can understand. I do understand, ma'am. There are 50 questions, but they are choice based. Remember. So in section A, if I have 4 questions, let's say if I have 4 sections, section A 10 marks, section B 10 marks, section C 10 mark, and section D 10 mark. Right? Right, Hina, ma'am? Okay.
Yes,
so this comes to 40 marks. Okay. Okay.
But
So now, yes. Now listen. Now, if in section A I have 10 questions and I've given choice of 5 questions more, so I have 15 questions now.
Okay.
In section B, I am again giving 5 questions more because of the choice. Again, 15 questions. So my questions will be increased, but my marks will be 40.
Okay. So division of marks will be like half can be there.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. That includes choice. Answer any 5 out of 6. There are section-wise choices.
Right.
So mentioned JC section A, 18 questions are there. A temptation is 14. Section B writing, a temptation is 10. And literature 26. So a temptation 26, 10 and 14 is 50.
May I move on to the next question? Smita, ma'am, I request you to kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, other members present. My question will be like, ma'am has Dr. Shilpa has said, told us how to prepare MCQs. We can apply this for classes 6, 7, 8 also?
Of course, Smita ma'am, please start applying it right from grade 5.
And second question, second question is like, ma'am said in the writing section, like we can give them you gave examples where where what I felt was like when we are explaining the writing section to them, we give them a lot of rules, and we give them a lot of ideas about how to write and things like that. So from now on, those things, till now, what the practice was amongst children was, they used to just listen to the format, and they just had a what should we say, they just wrote it down, okay, this here, and the format was followed. I don't know how much they listen to what we are telling them in particular. Little things like, about a notice, it should be in the first person, it should be in the, it should be in the third person, I'm sorry, or a diary writing where first person is included, or things like that. So now these small things that we are explaining, that also can be included in the writing section MCQs. Is that what ma'am is hinting at?
Yes, ma'am. See, when you are talking about MCQs for creative writing, you are actually testing the formats only over there. So formats are still over there. We have not done away with the formats. So you will still teach the formats to them. But as you said, they are not writing over there. Their grammatical comprehension can be tested in the form of MCQs when you're giving those case studies.
Okay.
All right. So you are still doing the formats. You are still doing the case studies, doing the grammatical corrections and everything in the form of case studies. The only thing is, if you really want the child to write something on their own, then follow the subject enrichment activities or multiple assessments. You can give them something over there. And that can also be added in their portfolio. So the child scores in the activity as well as in the portfolio.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And it was a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And would like to request participants to ask questions based on our session, how to make MCQs, because if we ask questions on the number of questions and the marks of sample papers are just now released and we have to go through. We won't be in a position to tell you. Right, Shilpa ma'am?
Yes. Mr. Amol, please unmute yourself and ask your question. All right, I move to the next.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think I have asked question this very frequently that in history, when it comes to the MCQ making for a case study, are they going to go for daily? I don't think so. Anything will be considered as day-to-day life. So it means, are we expecting source-based only will come for a case study, or any practice?
See, yeah, Amol sir, what will come, that can be taken into account from the sample papers. But talking about history in general, if you are going to prepare case studies, so the history textbook is actually a very beautiful textbook given by NCERT.
That is there.
You have seen the boxes over there. They've given you the content. They are actually the case studies. You can take those and prepare MCQs.
Okay. Thank you. Even textbook paragraph also can be a case study.
Yes. SST is a beautiful, all the textbooks are beautifully done. You talk about geography, you talk about economics, even political science or history. They've given you ample amount of case studies over there, and they have been doing since years.
Okay.
It's just that we were testing them theoretically, and now we are going to give them MCQs.
Okay. So with my students, what I'm doing, I'm telling them to prepare.
Yes. You are absolutely on the right path.
Along with me, I'm telling them they also can prepare the questions, MCQs on their own note.
There is one thing, as to all the educators over here, I'm going to tell you, you have something called as peer assessment in subject enrichment activities. Yes. To make your work easy, you know what you can do? You can actually have a subject enrichment activity as a recap thing also. For example, if you have 15 students in your class, you ask student A, every student, all 15 students will make one assertion reasoning question based on chapter 1. And all questions should be different. They have to submit to you. Similarly, every student will create a case-based question. And then you will...
See, in this concept of allowing child to make a questions now, I got 145 questions from a first chapter for MCQs.
Yes.
How many questions I got now? Okay, so my work is reduced now. I can use those questions. I can twist something in that also. The children will
Yes.
exams.
See, I'll tell you why the children should make questions, because if they start making questions, they understand the concept. Today, if you are making a question of assertion reasoning, you have understood the concept, and that is what you're going to make the child understand. But if the child also does the same thing, he will understand it more that, okay, this is how I have to solve it. Because if I am making a question, I will know the answer also. Then only I can present the question to my student B over there.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We'll take the last question now, ma'am. Leena Jadhav, ma'am,
Yes,
has been repeatedly asking a question. Leena Jadhav, ma'am, I request you to kindly unmute yourself and bring up the question. I hope she's here still. Leena Jadhav, ma'am. All right. Never mind. Bindu.
She had a question, Bhavika, she had a question that about regarding address in letter writing.
She's unable to unmute herself. Give me a moment, I'll trace you. And
doesn't matter, I can answer her. Yes, she had a question, she's written in the chat box.
Yes,
but my question is regarding address and letter writing. So Leena ma'am, you can actually ask address in the letter writing. You can actually tell, children on which side of the letter should the address come. This is one kind of MCQ. You can also ask if the address is given in the let's say a case-based study. You can also ask the children, okay, mention the address in terms of blanks. So that is up to you. You can ask an address also.
Yes, ma'am. We will go to Bindu, ma'am. Bindu, ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am. Bindu, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Dr. Shilpa, I'm really impressed with your session. Thanks to Dr. Abdul Salam sir too and Bhavika. I'm joining your session for the first time. I'm thoroughly impressed with the way you all have presented it. Such a lot of information in such a short span of time. And Dr. Shilpa, I'm the HOD of the Millennium School in Dubai. So I just want to ask you, how can we incorporate the map work of geography into MCQs? That's my first question. And the second question is, I'd like to know more about the alternative choices. You said that in the first 4 is being answered. So far, we have not got any kind of information on the board regarding that. So could you please tell me how to incorporate the maps into the MCQs?
Sure. It's wonderful to connect to you, Bindu ma'am, and it's really, overwhelming for me that I'm talking to you right in Dubai over there. First question that you wanted, how map can be incorporated. Map can be incorporated as an image. I did show you one question over there when I was playing that quizzes game with you. There was an image of a map, and you can actually, as you were doing earlier, you were actually asking children to label the map. Now, the same question you are going to ask, you will present a map to them. You will, instead of labeling, you are going to put arrows over there, A, B, C, D. And then in the solutions, you are going to write, for example, A is Delhi, B is Calcutta, C is Mumbai, D is, let's say, Bihar. So this is my arrows over there. Now the child has to sequence it. You can ask them into multiple selection questions or in sequencing part. So my first option is A, B, C, D. Second option is D, C, A, B. Third option is B, C, A, D. Or fourth option is D, A, C, B. Are you getting? Did you get it? Yes. Again, should I repeat it? All right. See, you have got the map. You have got a map. All right, Bindu ma'am, I would like to interact with you. Yes. You are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, Shilpa ma'am, what you are telling is the correct, thing. CBSE has given the same thing.
Yeah, it will happen like this only, sir. We just have to start thinking how the theoretical questions have to be put in MCQs. That's it. It's as simple as that. They are going to give you the same questions, which, see, just start referring those 10-year papers, those Shivdas papers and, Oswal question bank. They will give you the same papers. Only the pattern of the answer would be MCQ. That's it.
Bhavika ma'am, let's go to the next.
Yes, sir. Indu Nair, ma'am, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? All right. Yes, she's unmuted herself. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session. My question is, ma'am, recently I came across a question related to diary entry. The question is like this: what do you write at the end of a diary? The options given were your name, your designation, date on which a diary is written, put your signature. So
what will you write?
Actually, I'm a bit confused about the answer, because when I went through
remember the best answer. Did I tell you the best answer method?
Of course. You told us to.
Okay, and there is another method. There is another method, Indu ma'am, omission. Okay, so what is your first option? Let me see. What is your first option?
The options given were your name, your designation.
What is A option? Now let me check. A option is
your name.
What is your aim? Name. Can name come over there at the end?
No, actually, it's not compulsory that we have to write a name at the end of diary.
Yes. Now come to the B option. Come to the B option. What is B option?
Your designation, definitely.
Do we write the designation?
Definitely.
Don't have to. That is a no. All right. So I am out of it.
Okay.
Now C option.
Date on which diary is written.
Do I write at the end of the diary?
No, we don't write date at the end of the diary.
So again, that's a no. See, this is the method of omission. This is how we solve. All right. If the child, you do not know the answer. So my B or C are overruled. Now, what am I left with? A and D.
D.
Right?
Yes,
so this is my personal diary. Will I write my name or will I do a signature?
Again, it's not compulsory that we have to put a signature, ma'am. We have
the rule. It is compulsory. It is compulsory. You have to do a signature.
Really? Okay. Thank you so much. I had this down.
This is your personal diary. You are writing a name in the notice. You are writing a name in the letter. But this is your personal diary writing.
But don't we put our signature and notice also when we write our designation?
No, signature, yes, but that is a formal signature. You are doing a notice writing, that is a formal writing process.
Okay.
This is your personal diary entry wherein, just imagine that at night you have lived your day and you are talking to your diary. How will you talk to it?
Definitely, it will be pretty personal.
Okay.
So I had a
This is a rule of omission that we follow in MCQs. So if you do not know any answer, just try to rule out every option over there. You will find the best answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for the wonderful session, sir, as well as the host. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So with that question, we have reached the end of our session. Thank you, Dr. Shilpa. You beautifully addressed the various aspects of preparation of MCQs, such as Bloom's taxonomy, competency-based learning, and most importantly, you gave us the guidelines by CBSE as well as the assessment framework. I am confident the teachers have accomplished a lot of clarity on the preparation of MCQs, the common mistakes while creating MCQs, and also you addressed the concept of errors committed by the students. We are definitely enriched by the end of this session. You also helped us to reinforce. So the reinforcement for us as teachers also has been done by you. So we are very grateful to you for this insightful session, ma'am, and for your time and energy. I request
thanks a lot, Bhavika. Thanks a lot, Bhavika, and thanks a lot, Salam sir. It was all you, otherwise I wouldn't have done it.
No, ma'am. Actually, it was, we can see the chat box is full of, appreciation for your session. I am amazed at the energy level of, Dr. Shilpa. I don't know how you have this much energy and you are very so quick. And maybe this is your way of, presenting. But then we felt, some need some more space down. So that's why we interfered.
No, that's, I know myself, sir. I am a very a go-getter and a very aggressive in terms of, getting the goals.
Very aggressive.
So, and I'm very fast. So I know myself. I do agree. And this happens that I have to keep my pace slow. And you have to keep on nagging me to do that.
Okay. So thank you so much for this wonderful session. It is actually, it has helped us a lot. It's very helpful. We had many things, which we didn't know. So now we have to take care of those things when we frame questions. And I request participants not entirely rely upon private publications and all. And sometimes they may be, may not be up to the mark, up to the expectations of CBSE. So let's try on our own, and we can also ask students to make questions as well, right? So thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much,
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Shilpa, and also lots of requests to conduct this session again, because there are 5,000 people registered and 1,000 people could only, join. I don't know whether it is going to be possible, but the session is, of course, it is recorded, and it was live, and the video will be available. Chokalingam sir, I read your message. Don't worry. You please, refer to the YouTube video, and if at all we need to conduct the session, we will come again. But after going through the question papers, sample question papers, right, Shilpa ma'am?
Yes, yes, absolutely, sir. Any query, any time, I'm all open. They can even address me in my email ID. I'll pass it on to you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll meet
Thank you,
again.
sir.
Yeah, we'll come back to you after reviewing the sample question papers. And Bhavika ma'am, it was really helpful. Your presence, your service was really helpful to all the educators who have joined here. I know you are very busy. You have rushed to the session after your work. Thank you so much, Dr. Shilpa. Your hard work has been paid.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
everyone.
actually crossed our fingers. No, thank you so much, sir. You thought about me. That goes a long way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Gratitude, Salam sir, for giving me once again the opportunity to be a part of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya. So with that, we close the
I think you have been associating right from the beginning. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the participants who have, joined us. We will be sending you the PPT so that you can refer to, and also the video will be available. Refer to it. And we will be focusing more on the question papers from the next week onwards. Sample question papers and interpreting subject-wise. Thank you so much. So shall we wind up, Dr. Shilpa and Bhavat?
Yes, yes. Sure, sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night.